Hi, this is Sarah from Turn Back Time, day 43 of 60. 60 days to turn back time for my body, and here's an update. Measurements stalled, weight still falling. That's it. 178.3 pounds this morning, or 80.87 kilos, and it's killing me. I so want to get under that symbolic 80 kilos. Every day I do the conversion. Nope, not yet. So I take my mind off it by looking into another aspect of good nutrition. And today, raw food. Should we be eating only raw food? Dr. Robert Willex, who wrote the Rejuvenation Solution, advised that we should eat 80% raw food in our diet. And I don't think most of us are doing that. Obviously, there's salad and dates and fruit counts. And maybe if you start to add up exactly how much you are eating that isn't cooked, there is a fair proportion. I always saw it, I think, as a bit of a fad. Years ago, I was staying with a friend in LA, and he said he wanted to take me out to a restaurant, a raw food restaurant in West Hollywood. And I didn't have high hopes of a tasty evening meal. It is a famous place, but I imagined carrot sticks and celery. Instead, I was served the most delicious, raw, vegan, cold chili I'd ever tasted. I can't even describe it, and I stupidly didn't buy the cookbook on my way out, and I've been kicking myself ever since for not doing so. But it made me realise that raw food does not have to be boring. It just needs creativity. It does lend itself more to plant-based food rather than animal proteins, unless you can handle raw eggs, raw fish, or raw meat. But it automatically cuts out all processed food and preservatives, most sugars, wheat products, seed oils and pasta, so that's a huge bonus in itself. These are some of the other benefits extolled by proponents of a raw food diet. It will naturally be low in calories and high in fibre, so you will automatically lose excess weight. Nutrients and enzymes in foods are not destroyed by heating. Vitamins B and C are very vulnerable to being degraded by cooking because they're water soluble. So a raw food diet is thought to be very beneficial for the gut microbiome. Because of these points, it's said to give you more energy, better skin, better hair, even better sex. Here are some of the stated downsides. Our government seem very preoccupied with the dangers of raw foodstuffs, which we have to admit humans have eaten for centuries. Dairy is now pasteurised amid fears of salmonella, listeria and E. coli. People selling raw milk are even having their produce seized, when it was always sold direct to consumers, straight from the farm. However, pasteurisation means that milk does not have many of the good bacteria which the body needs for digestion, which is present in the raw milk, and the vitamin C and the zinc has been pasteurised out. Eating raw meat and raw fish is said to be dangerous. Haddock especially is singled out as a fish not to be eaten raw, as it may harbour harmful bacteria and parasites. Raw eggs are a salmonella risk, we're told. They say eggs have 9,000 pores in the shell which salmonella can creep into from the outside. But it's only likely to affect 1 in every 20,000 eggs by their estimation, and it seems to be a processing plant problem. Buy them direct from a farm. The reason they tell us to cook them is because they say that salmonella bacteria dies at 74 degrees centigrade. I find it very interesting with eggs that if you don't wash them straight from the chicken, they can last weeks without refrigeration. But once washed, like the ones that we buy in the supermarket, they go off quickly, if not in the fridge. Fascinating, there's a layer of protection there. Another problem with a largely fruit and vegetable-based raw diet is if you don't combine the protein sources carefully, you may not be giving your body all 20 amino acids required for life, basically. Also, you may eat huge amounts of fruit and vegetables, which, while healthy in themselves, one by one, can push your blood sugar high and prompt an insulin release, because they're just carbs after all. Another pushback against a raw food diet is the potential for a vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 is copious in meat, fish and dairy, If people don't eat those products, it's feared that a lack of B12 will affect their nervous system and their brain. The spinal cord can degenerate without B12, and red blood cell production can be severely hampered. Sufferers get vision problems, pins and needles, and even memory loss. However, it's said that there is some B12 in fruit and vegetables, ignore this fly, just in lesser amounts. It's said to be in apples, bananas, blueberries, oranges and mangoes. Also beetroot, squash, mushrooms and spinach. But bizarrely, when I Googled it and said how much B12 is in an apple or how much B12 is in a banana, it always came up as 0. Same for potatoes and spinach. As usual, everything conflicts. Maybe it's just negligible. There is some belief you should not eat cruciferous vegetables raw, like broccoli, cauliflower, sprouts, and kale. The reason given is that the sugars in them may be very hard to digest. But that might be because our normal Western diets rob us of the essential enzymes. We know our bodies thrive on fibre, and that broccoli particularly is an anti-cancer powerhouse that's far more effective when eaten raw. So again, I look askance at such advice. We never know if what we're being told is scientifically correct, or even if the science is correct. Some nutritionists claim if you eat certain raw vegetables, it blocks the uptake of some of the other contents. For example, oxalates in spinach, they say block the absorption of zinc and calcium and iron. Glucosinolates in Brussels sprouts reduce the absorption of iron as well, they say. But glucosinolates are also believed to have anti-cancer properties. Maybe, at the end of the day, it's just best to try to find the middle road. If you're worried, steam or roast vegetables rather than boil them to death, and then eat them al dente. The biggest downside appears to be that a raw food diet makes for a very restrictive diet, and that might not be sustainable in the long run. But I have friends who've sworn by it for years. Perhaps we should eat more raw food, but not only raw food. It's a good thing to have in our heads, perhaps, when we're assembling our daily intake. And given my experience in LA at that restaurant, maybe have a look at some raw food recipes as you're looking for ways to create variety within this diet plan. I'm certainly going to. On to day 44 then. See you then.